The following program is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central Valley. I am your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week, here on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing some rational thought to the crazy world that we live in, and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing and credit markets. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as some tremendous opportunities. Old lady sitting next to me here to my right. You just need some trusted advice, and that's exactly what you're going to hear every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Did you forget your teeth this morning or what?
No, I put lip gloss on them. My lips were feeling a little chapped. So
a little chafed there?
Yeah. They're better now. Okay, good morning.
Atta girl, good morning. How are you doing? So, as Johnny said before we came on the air, so who's hauling your trash?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just going to tell you,
G.
from a marketing perspective,
Yes.
I am so loving some of the commercials that are coming out over this garbage. I really, really am. Because let me get on my soapbox. I am all for privatizing as much as fiscally able to.
Thank you, Jesus.
So, I really like it's Mid-Valley, correct?
Mid-Valley Disposal.
Who came out with a great commercial, and it said, here's what we can do for you, and we're still going to recycle, and we're still going to do these things for you. And I think, more power to them. Amen. It's about time somebody says, hey, privatization can be beneficial. Now, I know you all have known I've been going through this name change thing because I went through a divorce.
Right.
So I went back to my maiden name. Do you know how many jacked up offices I have had to go to that are run by our government in the last month? I've been to the DMV multiple times. I've been to the Social Security office. I mean, honest to goodness.
Yeah, do tell.
I had to go to the courts twice. It's like, are you kidding me?
Nobody cared.
Everybody pokes around. Compete with privatization, and I can tell you what, it's going to be interesting.
All of a sudden, everybody's got a little spring in their step.
Yeah, I'm really thinking people would, hop to it a little quicker if they knew some other guy could have their job. And that's what I didn't see in these departments. And not off the subject, sorry.
No sense of urgency, huh?
Yeah. None. And I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, I sat there, and all I could think is, it's no wonder the people on welfare and the people who deal with social services have no job. You can't have a job and go sit and work with these departments, because truly it's hours and hours and hours to get anything done.
Got to move heaven and earth just to get your name changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's changed.
Atta girl. Congrats.
Thanks.
Well, speaking of, that is my special Sunday
soapbox
co-host.
Galloper, sorry.
As Michelle would say, who's hauling your garbage?
Mine is already privatized. I live in Fowler. Yeah, Waste Management has ours.
Atta girl. That is Michelle Pettis here in the studio. Michelle is a licensed realtor. Works for Valleywide Homes, selling homes Valleywide, showing those 11 properties that are listed currently on the market out there.
All 11?
All 11, yeah.
I sold one of them.
Yeah, you did.
We're down to 10 now.
You were down to 10?
I'm teasing.
That's why I saw the status change.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the big number on the ball. Ding! On the wall. Ding!
It's like the countdown for New Year's. Yeah. The tickler just keeps moving faster and faster.
The wrong direction,
right? The wrong direction, that's for sure.
So great to have you here, kid. Well, the Real Estate Radio Network gives us the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for one full hour each and every week. It helps us to get the word out, right?
I just realized you brought that up before we even did our intro, and I totally soapboxed. I'm very sorry.
You soapboxed.
I'm like looking at it going, we haven't even introduced the show, and I'm like bantering.
Talked about
garbage.
Well, just
That's
so
your
you know.
Fault.
No. It's okay, because garbage was not going to be one of the topics on today's show.
It wasn't?
No, it was not.
Really affects real estate. Highly affects real estate.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in just a second. Our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network, before I was interrupted there, is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market, so we can help bring you
more garbage. I mean, back home.
Johnny, can you believe this? For a Sunday morning. Hey, last weekend when it got to be 102, did it fry some of the receptors?
You know, and I want you both
there?
to apologize to me for last weekend.
Why?
Neither of you said Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Can I get a late Happy Mother's Day, Johnny? Happy Mother's Day. Thanks, Johnny. We were so busy, and we had so many things on our list to cover last week. You never said it. And I actually went home hurt. I did. I went home hurt.
You went on your bike ride hurt?
I did. I went on my bike ride hurt.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Well, on today's show, did you know that late payments, or the rate at which payments are made late. It's that little tongue tire there. Actually tumbled in the first quarter of this year. Also, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency is actually talking about limiting the types of mortgages that Fannie and Freddie can purchase. I don't find that totally and completely surprising when you are
upside down?
Yeah, when you're upside down
as an organization?
Under conservatorship. That somebody's going to tell you, you can't do that.
I think it's about down.
It's called limiting exposure.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And did you know that there's improving markets nationally, and it includes 258 metro areas?
Nice.
Yeah. And that principal forgiveness could reduce, I never thought that I would hear principal forgiveness and reduce taxpayer liability in the same comment or in the same topic or same sentence.
Yeah, I need you to explain that one.
Yeah, we'll go into that in greater detail. And did you know that lenders are venturing back into the subprime market?
Yeah, and I'm scared.
Yeah, be very afraid, especially in California. Oh, my gosh. Don't get me going. 2004, 5, and 6, it was a nice ride up. But then after 2006, the ride to the crash site, it was a little harrowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, California's median home prices post the highest level of increases in nearly 5 years as intense competition increases. And Michelle and I are going to go into a little greater conversation as to why consumer confidence is such an important part of our recovery in today's market. You lost your place in today's notes.
Craig, when you're going to bring me this book.
Yeah, exactly.
Number the pages,
We're also going to take some listener questions, so make sure you stay with us. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and I talk about here on the show, or something that might be specific to you and what's going on in your world, give us a call. Anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website. Check out our resources online. I don't want to say just check out our website because you can ask Craig for about anything on our website. Go to our website. And you do. Yeah,
and I do.
Yeah, you do. Go to our website, valleywidesells.com. Again, that's valleywidesells, name says it all, .com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley Wide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valley Wide.
To call into the show and get connected to us anytime. Well, you heard us mention Press 4. Press 4 is a little app that we utilize here on the show that helps us stay connected with our listeners. Go to the Press 4 website at press4.com. Follow the easy setup instructions, or if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, go to the App Store, download the free app, and all you have to do is use the keywords that we say on our show, and whatever it's intended to do, like as an example, KMJ, call Valley Wide, if you use those keywords, and all you do is say them into your phone, and it calls Valley Wide. You don't have to remember a number. Pretty cool.
It's like the Siri of KMJ.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The Siri of the Real Estate Radio Network.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Let's talk a little bit, or let's go into greater detail with today's hot property. Today's hot property is brought to you by Perfect Inspections. Whether it's residential, multifamily, or a commercial inspection, use Press 4 keywords, Perfect Home Inspections, or call Jerry Schooley today for your perfect inspection at 352-6941. Again, that's 352-6941. Well, today's hot property is a HUD home located at 6153 East Cortland Avenue, Fresno, California, 93727. This 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath property is 2,445 square feet, built in 2008, appraised for $267,000 with an FHA appraisal. Clovis Unified Schools, might I add. If you are utilizing FHA financing, it could save you the cost of an appraisal report, roughly about $450 if you're a buyer. Or if you're an agent, it could save your buyer that you're representing $450, which is a nice little savings there. If you'd like more information about today's hot property, please give us a call anytime. 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. Or use press 4 keywords.
KMJ Hot Property.
And we will send you more information about this hot property right to your smartphone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Well, let's take a look at some of the top stories in the news. 1,055 active listings in Fresno County currently right at the moment. Roughly, as we had mentioned before, we're staying pretty true to the statistics. About 80% of the market is traditional sales. Right around 8% of the market is currently active short sales, and 10.9% is what we would consider real estate owned or foreclosure properties. And we keep seeing a lot of pressure on the active short sales and REOs because we really, honestly, those numbers are decreasing all the time, and we might be seeing, as we mentioned before, the death of the short sale and the foreclosure. There's always going to be foreclosures, but when it gets down to a more manageable level where it consists of less than 20% of our active.
And I find it kind of funny that we're seeing less short sales because with all the changes legislatively this year, like as soon as the politicians found out there might not be some smooth process, they put this huge, emphasis on the home buyers, Bill of Rights, and we've got to make these short sales quicker and easier. And within 6 months, we're losing short. I mean, there are none coming on the market in comparison. Right. So I find it kind of humorous that we wasted all this time and energy up in Sacramento making sure these short sales were going to go faster.
And it felt poof, like that was just a
got it. Everybody, knee-jerk reaction, ba-boom. Instead of letting the process just take care of itself.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
You have to admit, though, since 2007, we haven't done a very good job of letting
processes take place.
We just let things happen.
No, I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
I just
exactly. Spare everybody the pain, which, again, if you're a historian, you spare them the pain, and guess what? They're going to go through it again.
Again and again.
Just that much faster. It's like your kids. Oh, don't touch that. No, here, let me touch that for you. Let me fix it for you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
I just think it's hysterical.
Yeah, 660 units sold in April, so we're clipping
coming
right
up.
down. Yeah, it is coming up, and and I think it's to be expected or anticipated.
Springtime.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be busier.
Yeah,
definitely going to be busier.
That's good.
Well, again, as we mentioned earlier, late payments or the rate at which payments are late tumbled in the first quarter of 2013. A resurgent housing market. Obviously, we've seen.
What's your thought on that?
I think it's to be expected.
Why?
Well, I think a number of things. I think that it's to be expected, number one, as we're recovering. But what about the house? How many of these houses that are late were sold? How many of them were modified?
Okay.
How many of them were short sales and sold? Okay. But, I think there's less opportunities for folks. And the more we're seeing folks buying at this pace in terms of home affordability in California, you've got a more affordable mortgage. Also, job numbers are improving all the time. And
I know we're going to talk about consumer confidence later, but do you think people started making their payments again? Who hadn't been making their payments potentially because confidence came up?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know. I mean, I don't think there's statistics on that, but I would be very interested to know if the lift in consumer confidence didn't have an effect on that.
How many of those
people who
folks
had given up but had the money to scrape through if they really had wanted to keep fighting but
maybe
gave up.
Maybe they've seen the opportunity to gain back some of that
because of that equity coming up a little bit.
Sure.
Maybe they found some lost hope and have it again.
I can say definitively that definitely plays a part in the process.
Yeah, it's not a statistics thing. It's a feeling thing.
It's a perception.
It's a perception.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the percentage of mortgage holders at least 2 months behind on their payments fell by 21% in the first 3 months of this year versus the same period in 2012, and that was reported by TransUnion this past week. Yeah, last year, it's a great thing. Last year, 1.7 million homeowners who had been underwater, so that meant that they owed more than what their house was currently worth, were moved into positive equity, and this was according to CoreLogic. That left another 10.4 million, or nearly 22% of all homes that still had a mortgage, still in negative equity at the end of last year, and steady job growth, again, is...
10.4 million is a lot still underwater, though. I mean, that's a lot of houses. That's a lot of folks who are still upside down.
Yeah, that's, what is that, L.A. County 10 times over?
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah, a little crazy. Federal Housing and Finance Agency is actually telling Fannie and Freddie, I'm sorry, but we're going to limit your exposure.
You can't just approve anything now?
No, you can't just approve anything. You can't just go out and buy anything.
So explain that a little. Were they buying at the courthouse steps? What were they doing? Tell me more about how this works.
Basically, effectively, this means that Fannie and Freddie will not purchase, number one, interest-only loans.
Okay.
Okay, so that limits exposure.
Okay.
Because if it's interest-only, there is no principal reduction. Most folks are going to pay the minimum payment, which is interest-only.
Okay.
Any mortgage that has a term in excess of 30 years, so any 40-year loan terms, that was actually quite popular. I shouldn't say quite popular, but somewhat popular.
Useful.
Prior to 2007. Or if there is a mortgage that has points and fees exceeding the thresholds that are established. So
they're saying those are higher risk loans and they want them to stay away from it. But, it makes sense. If you're financing your house for 15 years, you're a lower risk loan because you're planning to pay that puppy off. You're putting more equity in. Your payments are for a less time frame. The longer you string it out, the more risky it becomes. Because let's say you have a 40-year mortgage and you're 60 years old.
Yeah.
Guess what? You may not outlive that mortgage. So
and you may not
what
care
happens?
If you outlive
Family
that mortgage.
gets the property. It may go into foreclosure. So it's a riskier loan.
Yep, exactly.
I gotcha.
They're also kind of crimping down on their automated underwriting engine. That it also states that Fannie Mae is not going to allow for any mortgage or any loan with a debt-to-income ratio in excess of 43% to be protected under their guidelines as what's considered a qualified mortgage. So what this does is, overall, 10,000-foot view, it just tells you that federal government is saying, hey, we are going to do our best to limit exposure, and we feel that not fully amortizing loans or interest-only loans or loans with terms of longer than 30 years, as you mentioned earlier, are just riskier.
Well, what do you think about that? What do you think about the DTI issue? Do you think that's reasonable? Because I keep hearing, and bear with me, I keep hearing, like the president comes out and says more people should, they should be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 43% debt to income ratio. That is your car payment, your house payment, all your debt lumped in.
All your monthly payments.
So 43 out of every $100 you make is the highest amount they want you to. Now, that doesn't include your car insurance, your gasoline, your food,
power,
paying
water,
for your kid
garbage.
to have clothes, all those other things. So why? I understand it's newsworthy, but at the same time, is it out of? It doesn't seem like it's so ridiculously, defined to the point where it doesn't make sense. It totally makes sense.
Yeah, I think you've got some little guy in a storage room somewhere in Washington D.C. Statistics really just makes him excited. So he's going through the stats and saying, I'm just saying that if we want to limit exposure to Fannie and Freddie, that all we got to do is we remove these three pieces of the puzzle right here.
Because they were at, 45% before?
No, actually, for the longest time, you could see that unless it was an investor overlay, meaning that the investor that the loan was being sold to had stricter guidelines that what Fannie and Freddie would allow, could, on any transaction, go up as high as 50%.
Wow. Okay.
And with some investors, you see it slightly higher. In other words, if Desktop Underwriter gives you an approval at a 55% back-end debt-to-income ratio, then that's a doable deal.
Okay.
So, is it newsworthy?
And from a lending perspective, do you think it's too tight?
And not necessarily, nor do I think that it's surprising that they're trying to limit Fannie and Freddie's exposure. I think that might be something that, like you had mentioned earlier, kind of a knee-jerk reaction to the market and saying, hey, let's let HUD shoulder a little more responsibility, and let me just say this. I do think, and we briefly had this conversation recently on one of our shows, that if Fannie and Freddie back out of the market slightly. That's going to create a void. Well, who is going to fill that void as far as mortgages are concerned?
Right.
And is there someone that's going to possess an appetite, i.e. Wall Street, to come into the market and provide some sort of mortgage-backed security that fills that void that Fannie and Freddie is not willing to fill? And, FHA, they've got their box. Fannie and Freddie obviously are tightening up their box a little bit. So who's going to fill the market? And I think when you listen to Ben Bernanke talk, not FHA can't shoulder as much of the responsibility as they have, what we've seen over the last few years. And they may be potentially a little overextended. 35% of all mortgages in Fresno County, 35% of all properties on average right at the moment that are acquired utilizing financing, FHA.
Right.
Roughly 30% cash, and another 30% is conventional or other.
Interesting.
Yeah. So with
interesting to watch.
With the ebb and flow that we see in every single market, there's always, what brought subprime into the market?
An appetite.
Yeah, an appetite and greed. Saying
when
appetite was a nice term.
when you say appetite, I think of like this pack of wolves that want to just tear stuff up with their big old chompers.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what
scary.
it is. Yeah, exactly. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you on our show today, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get your take. Give us a call, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website, check out our resources, search for your next home by going to valleywidesells.com. Again, that's valleywidesells.com. The name says it all. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley Wide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valley Wide.
To get connected to us anytime. We'd love to have you call into the show or call us after the show and talk with you. Well, coming up, some homes are still slow to sell, even in the hottest of markets. And Trulia reports that strong job growth, are boosting asking prices in a number of counties statewide. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valley Wide help. Valley Wide Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals at Valley Wide Homes to work for you. Valley Wide Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460. Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use Press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete's Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete's Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete's Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete's Seat. Online at peteseats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097, and take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, principal forgiveness. My gosh. Who's writing down your mortgage?
I said for him is.
Jesus, take the wheel and write down my mortgage.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Principal forgiveness.
Yeah, allowing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to reduce loan balances for borrowers who owe more than their homes are worth could ultimately reduce mortgage defaults and save the government money,
How?
according to a report published last week
stop.
by the Congressional Budget Office. I knew you like that. Here we go.
It's a governmental
government
entity.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't trust any of them. But, okay, how is this going to happen? Tell me how this
Fannie
saves
and
us
Freddie's
money.
regulators last year said the potential savings of a principal forgiveness program didn't outweigh potential costs when it blocked the companies from participating. Now, the Treasury Department had spent months trying to convince the regulators that it would be in the firm's best interest to cut loan balances because borrowers might receive more sustainable loan modifications. Mm-hmm. Again, we're trying to put a Band-Aid on a severed limb. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Congressional Democrats asked the Congressional Budget Office to prepare this report in response to the decision by the Federal Housing and Finance Agency. While the CBO found potential government savings for using principal reduction, analysts conceded that principal forgiveness, at least as contemplated by the Treasury, would be far from the make-or-break housing aid that some of the agency's harshest critics suggested. Honestly, I think that at this point in time, in our current market, I don't see that this is newsworthy. I think the buzzword is principal forgiveness, or the buzzwords are principal forgiveness. But in terms of, is it really noteworthy in today's market? What did we talk about last week? There was like 76 people in San Diego County that had seen their
76 people who had the positive effect of this
one particular program, Saving Your Home California.
I think it just gave Obama an excuse to nominate someone.
Yeah?
Yeah. This article mentions that he's nominating the North Carolina Democrat Representative Mel Watt to the FHFA. So I think all of it had to do with him getting that going.
So do you so you think there's some political grandstanding there that
I do.
I'm going to nominate somebody and we're going to use the word principal reduction
and we're going to demand that this review happen and blah blah blah. Yeah, I think that's what it's about.
And I'm a good guy.
It's grandstanding.
Grandstanding.
It is. It is.
Wow.
That's my opinion.
Yeah,
that's
right. Okay. That's okay. No, I agree with you. You know, the LA Times recently reported that some homes are still slow to sell, even
I saw one yesterday
in the hottest of markets.
I did.
And I'm not talking because last weekend it was 102.
It was hot this last week.
We're talking in terms of how fast these homes are flying off. So you saw one yesterday. Talk to me.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's always more difficult for everyone when you cannot just go visit the property. So when you have to wait for someone to open the property, there's no key available, no lockbox. That always makes it tricky. Okay, that's one roadblock. Mm-hmm. Okay, the second roadblock when you have a tenant in there, because you really don't have any control over what people see.
Sure.
Or what
Nor does the seller.
Nor does the seller.
Right.
You don't have any control over what they see, what they may smell, how bad they may sweat in the property.
What
I mean,
they
honestly,
see or what they smell.
I saw a property this week, and my client, after we walked out of the house, because a tenant let us in, it was a tenant
Your client
property. My client said, "Did someone die in that property?" And I'm like, "Well, as per the disclosures, I do not see that there's been a death on the property in the last 3 years."
You just cut right. And
the
next home on our
we're going 3 blocks away over here to da-da-da-da. Yeah,
just keep on rolling.
Honestly, I would think that that's a huge issue in today's market. It's one thing when you go into an empty property that's foreclosed upon and maybe it's missing a stove or has a broken window. Mm-hmm. You know, that's that vandalism, that's repairable, etc. When you go into a property and it's hot and it stinks and people aren't using the air conditioning and it becomes an uncomfortable, not easily repaired project because you really don't know what you're dealing with.
And the perception of the consumer, Lord knows what they are, what they're going to think.
Yeah.
As to, it could be something that's really simple. It could be gingerbread. When I say gingerbread, paint.
It could be pull the carpet,
yeah.
repaint it, clean the ducts, and you're good to go. But the condition of the property is huge. It really is huge.
And the smell of the property is.
And I don't mean to be rude, but yes, in 90, 100 degree heat, condition is.
Can you say who needs a stick up? Right.
In all the foreclosures, you see them.
Yeah.
Hey, watch out.
Hey,
be careful what you say because they'll start demanding that we all put stick-ups in every property. It'll become a new federal law, just like the whole lead
And
paint
foreclosures
disclosure.
are now
Somebody sued somebody somewhere because the house stunk, and now we all have to put a stick up in it.
REOs are a protected class now.
They are. They are. I'm not kidding. It's ridiculous.
And that every REO must have 4 stick-ups.
Let me tell you, if you want to invest in stock, you should be doing it in Glade and Renews It right now. Those little ones that dissolve, they're in every foreclosure and short sale. It's funny. It's
you know what?
stinking
Some
funny.
of the best-smelling homes, no kidding, in today's market, Johnny, are foreclosures.
Yes. Because the people are gone, there's nothing left, and there's a Renews It sitting in the kitchen.
Smells great.
Smells great. Cranberry, yeah. Mhm.
Cranberry.
Cherry, strawberry. But when you have stinky renter, not so good. Just not so good.
Yeah, or the properties, let's say you've got to schedule an appointment with a tenant, and the tenant is pushing back, and tenants not...
They don't like to have their house sold out from under them.
No.
Can't blame them.
And that is, and honestly, that for the purposes of this story, can be used as a weapon against the seller. Well, I'll show him, or I won't let them show it.
Yeah,
or the only
exactly.
time I'll let them show it is 11 p.m. on Saturday night.
Yeah, that happens too.
No, it does. It does. I'm not. I'm kind of being facetious.
So what
but
does it say in this article about the sellers and the ugliness of homes that aren't moving?
Well, just these homes continue to languish on the market, and they tend to be somewhat of a problem segment, even in the fastest of moving markets.
No, I agree. And I think the last thing to talk about is if a seller or an agent has to be present. So the selling agent, the listing
seller just
agent,
says, I have to
and
be
the
there.
seller has to be there. It doesn't give
That's
people the
uncomfortable.
freedom to walk around and just, and be aware.
Be themselves.
Agents who represent those buyers, we're responsible for our buyers. And we are keeping an eye on things, and we're not going to let them walk out with things out of your home. I mean, we're respectful. We're professionals.
I had a client that was selling their home. Oh my gosh, this was about 2 years ago, and it actually made the news here locally in Fresno County that an agent had gone into a property with their buyer, and the buyer was going through the jewelry box and actually stole jewelry.
Are you kidding?
From a seller's.
Hey, lesson to agents. That's our responsibility to keep an eye on our buyers.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Hey, that's crazy. But I'm not surprised in any market that there's good and bad everywhere.
No, most
There
definitely.
are good and
There
bad
is
everywhere.
good and bad everywhere.
But we have such safety nets in place as realtors. I mean, every time I open a lockbox, it tells the association I'm in that house.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that are in place that our clients out there, sellers may not even realize.
As a listing agent, we can pull a report. We can go to Supra. We can actually
It tells me
SuperWeb.
every agent who's been in that property. It's awesome.
Or who was the last one that took the key container out and actually didn't put it back. Or
Yeah,
didn't put it
exactly.
back with the key. We're making some
Hey, I've
assumptions
gotten in the
there.
car a couple times with the key in my hand, not realizing. But I remember and put it back.
There you go. Is it any wonder that Truly reported recently that strong job growth is boosting asking prices? And it's interesting here in California, in San Jose, Orange County, San Francisco, as well as outside of the state, in Phoenix.
That is interesting.
Yeah, some of the top 10 metros where asking prices increased the most in year over year. Las Vegas, number 1, 28.5%. Wow. It's not surprising in Vegas, though. I don't. I really.
No, I guess not. But
no.
I do find it interesting job growth. The job growth they're mentioning in California. I would be very, very curious if it's construction, if it's...
Or exactly how it's quantified in terms
how are
of the
they
different sectors. Because here in Fresno County, I can see where we're coming into a very busy season, obviously, as far as ag's concerned.
Right, our numbers will go down.
Yeah.
Unemployment will go down.
Unemployment will go down. A lot more money in the economy locally. Quite a few farmers, and don't hate me for saying this, but are doing extremely well.
Well, and not only that, you see all of our local economy affected by the construction around here, too. So our freeways, our highways, there's a lot of work going on in those areas of our county at the moment, too.
And
that
you take a look at new home purchases, or the building that you see that's going on in the new home in the subdivisions. I was just driving out towards Clovis East off of, I think it was DeWolf and Barstow, and there was a new Bonadelli development out there. They were pulling out the old standpipes from the field where they had it was all the watering that they had farmed out there.
Well, and thank you to those builders who are still moving forward, because they are the ones, regardless of what the people believe, they are the ones who are supporting financially the infrastructure of our streets and
Certainly.
our curbs and gutters that are going into those neighborhoods.
And I think people take that for granted because they really don't get it.
I mean, it is built into the cost of the home, and I get that. But at the same time, those people are putting the money out ahead of time for these neighborhoods to go up. So,
and if they weren't doing it, it wouldn't be happening.
It wouldn't be happening.
Exactly.
And that also funds our parks and other entities as well for our counties.
And whether you agree where the money's being spent.
Let's not go there because my soapbox will come out.
Number 2, Oakland, California, 26.3%. Again, Oakland's got some room for improvement.
Is that where the high-speed rail starts? Or? No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
That's close. Close. Sacramento, number 3. Phoenix, Arizona, number 4 at 23.3%. San Jose is number 5 at 22.9%. That's year-over-year price increases. 6 is Bakersfield at 19.0.
Could that be based on oil and
in Bakersfield?
Energy sector?
Yeah.
No, I mean, really,
Yeah,
truly,
well,
Oildale.
Oildale.
Well,
yeah,
also you get
exactly.
those folks over the grapevine too.
Over the grapevine.
LA coming in.
There's a lot of influence because you're pretty doggone close to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 7, Orange County. Number 8, San Francisco. Number 9, Riverside. Obviously, there's only one out of the first 9, which is Phoenix. No, I take that. Las Vegas, number 1. Phoenix, number 4. Everything else is California.
That's
and number
scary,
10,
though.
Warren, Troy, Farmington Hills, Michigan. 18.0%.
Nice. Curious, the job growth. Is that the energy? Oil, gas, is that the one that was expanding?
It's funny you say that because I talked to a friend of mine, my friend that's a fracker that goes up to...
Do you have a fracker friend?
I do. I have a fracker friend. Yeah, it goes up to, Williston, South Dakota, up that neck of the woods, a couple hours away, back up in the hills, and he goes up and monitors these wells that they infuse all this high pressure. Basically, they're taking the oil shale and turning it into... pumping it out of the ground, so it's not liquid form in the ground, but they turn it into a liquid form and pump it out. Well, it is having such a huge impact on all the economies up there.
Right.
He said Fargo, Bismarck, some cities that are seeing just exponential growth.
Right.
Developers are flying in every single day.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Not enough properties on the market. Prices of homes are appreciating just for the simple fact that, based upon demand, pure and simple, he can go up there and he can work, let's say, 2 weeks out of the year, 2 weeks out of the month, and make roughly $80,000-$90,000 a year. Wow. Now, granted, he's got to go all the way up there to go work.
Right.
But he can work 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. And I'm generalizing to a certain degree. But it helps to give you the perspective that what an industry or what jobs can help to do to stimulate any economy. That's right. Regardless of how poor it was, how bad it was.
And
before.
that goes back to my comment earlier in regards to privatization. When you have government entities mowing the lawns at parks, when you have government entities sweeping the streets, when you have government entities picking up the garbage, when you have government entities doing all of this labor-intense work, it only makes sense to privatize those because private employment is going to spur the economy versus governmental entities running these forces. And honestly, it would be so good for our economic future here in the Valley if we could see more of that going on. And that's a great example. You put the government in charge of that, and God help us, what would happen with honestly, in that particular area? It's
amazing how efficient, when it is the private sector, that all this becomes.
Yeah. Honestly, it does.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep moving.
Keep going. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you on our soapboxes here on Sunday morning, give us a call, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website. valleywidesells.com. Check out our resources. Search for your next home. It's pretty easy, too. Sign up, tell it what you want it to search for, and guess what? Boom, it rolls. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valleywide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valleywide.
To call into the show and get connected to us anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, lenders are venturing back into the subprime market, and California's median home prices rises to the highest level in nearly 5 years. And we're going to talk about consumer confidence. Yeah, and how it shapes your perspective and whether it's time for you to get back into today's fast-paced housing market. Well, you are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing investment property, let the experts at Valleywide Homes help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Visit our website at reofresnohomes.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals of Valleywide Homes to work for you. Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer, at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's Seats, and then there's Pete Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete Seat. Online at PeteSeats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097. And take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
You know, Michelle, I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but lenders are reemerging to offer the classic subprime loan in today's market. A high-price loan for a high-risk customer.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about that.
Yeah.
I know economists may go, oh, but Michelle, there's a need for that. Okay, fine, whatever.
Well, exactly, yeah. So in today's market...
Let's repeat history. Let's just get in line to repeat history.
Let's just all get ready to walk off a cliff together. Let's hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and get ready to walk off the cliff
Plane's
together.
Plane's going to crash. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be careful. I mean, and here's the problem I see. If we don't stand up for the fact that it's a concern, nobody else is going to. I mean, who's making money off of this?
Well, housing prices, we talked, have increased to the highest level in the past 5 years. California, where was the stat here? California, year over year, was like 19.2%.
Not normal.
No, not normal at all.
Not historically normal.
Average sales price in Fresno County in February was $158,950. Average sales price in March was $160,510. So it was an increase. It was modest. But when you look at year over year, average sales price March of 2012, $134,690 versus $160,510, 19.2% increase.
Way too much.
Yeah. Excuse me. That's just way scary.
And if they're not going to be adjusting rates and doing the things that they need to do to keep that balance, then this is what we're going to...
We're still keeping mortgage rates down artificially. So is it any wonder that lenders are venturing back into the market? Because ultimately when the day is done, greed is going to dictate all, or most all, in terms of the void that's there. We talked about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Hey, we're not going to buy as deep. We're not going to buy any interest-only loans. We're not going to do any loans in excess.
Yeah, we're going to let the private sector do that now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Concern. And you know who should be really concerned?
Well, who's that?
people who are investing in the stock market,
Yeah.
people who are making investments out there with their future retirement and their savings, because manipulation in this capacity affects them. It affects them.
Yeah, so
and those folks
but
are the
market's
ones who
in
should
excess
be
of 15,000
screaming and yelling right now.
The market's in excess of 15,000. So what's wrong with that, Michelle?
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No?
You know what? I'm just. It's the manipulation of the entire market,
Right.
that concerns me. And
Manipulation of rates, manipulation of...
of interest rates, of what Fannie and Freddie are going to be taking. I mean, Ben and I have talked this talk. He's not listening, but I have called him several times.
He's not paying
and
you any
said,
mind.
What's going on, Ben?
Ay,
when are
ay.
you going to start working with us and not against us?
All I'm going to say is...
There's a normal ebb and flow, and they're not letting that happen.
Exactly. It's more of a Darwinian approach. Let the market take care of itself without getting involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know what? I don't know if this is really on the subject or not, but I really enjoy when I hear our local banks here in the Valley who are still doing business like local banks, and they're concerned about the people's money that's in the bank and loaning it, and their underwriting is in-house, and the things that are going on are not based on the larger market, but based on the little ecosystem of our
microcosm
county.
here. Sure.
Yes, exactly. A lot of farming money that's being lent locally and things like that. I really do commend our local banks for that, because they're not following these trends.
Yeah, exactly.
They aren't, not to the same degree. And
Sure.
so I think that there's a safety there for those folks that's not being representative in the Banks of America, the Wells Fargos, the large conglomerates, and but that's, again, me on my soapbox.
Yeah, no problem. So let's talk real quickly about consumer confidence. Why is consumer confidence, and we had a really great conversation this week, kind of in preparation for the show today. Why is consumer confidence such a huge part of our recovery on a go-forward basis, or really at any time in history? But why now? Why is consumer confidence so extremely important in our collective recovery?
And to me, it goes back just to marketing.
Yeah.
It goes back to the basics of marketing. Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola has amazing marketing.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean that Coke's the best drink out there, or that Pepsi's the best drink. It all has to do with the perception people have based on advertising. So I think...
Because I can't taste the difference. I
I can taste the difference, but but the issue
Sorry.
is not that it's the best thing, if Apple Juice had a better marketing campaign, they'd be number one.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But that's the issue. So it's all about what you believe to be, not what is.
Very good point. So let's talk about one of the things that has a huge effect on consumer confidence, or perception as far as consumers are concerned. Mortgage rates. When it comes right down to it, we know that mortgage rates are being held low. Artificially. At some point in time, our QE infinity is going to, quote unquote, the feds are going to take their foot off the gas pedal and expect someone else to come in and begin buying up all those bonds in order to fill the void that's been left by the Treasury. And at some point, mortgage rates are going to have to go up. And how fast are they going to go up, and at what pace they're going to go up? Well, to give you an example, let's talk about an FHA loan today. So we're talking about the perception of rates and how it affects whether a consumer is going to pull the trigger on buying a home today. 3.25% on a 30-year fixed-rate FHA mortgage at a $150,000 purchase price. Your 3.25% with an APR of about 3.55. Your total monthly payment to include principal and interest, taxes, insurances, and mortgage insurance that's required by FHA is $1,048.
And that's at 3.25.
That's at 3.25% as of today.
So it's under $1,100.
Under $1,100.
A family can buy a $150,000 property right now.
House. Exactly.
With 3.5% down.
Yeah.
Okay.
With 3.5% down. So at some point, rates are going to go up. Now, let's say rates go up 1 full percent.
Okay.
1 full percent in terms of perception is a lot.
But it isn't.
Right.
It isn't.
But perception will.
That's right.
Perception will
and
cause the consumer.
Confidence.
It'll affect consumer confidence. Consumers will say, because the first thing that I hear out of folks' mouths is, well, I hear that rates are going up. Oh, my gosh. They fluctuate in little dust particles in between 0.8% on a daily basis, and you don't really see that. Over
Right.
time, you can see that.
For the normal consumer, 1% isn't that much.
But in terms of payment, but to the normal consumer, in terms of perception, it's enough, in my estimation, in my opinion, to stop them from actually seizing the American dream, because their perception is rates have gone up. They've gone up 1%.
They missed their chance.
They missed the opportunity. $150,000 sales price. The interest rate goes up to 4.25%.
Okay.
With an APR of roughly about 4.53%. Your payment goes up to $1,132.
So it went from 1048 to 1132.
Yep.
Less than
$100.
Less than $100.
Yeah, less than $90.
Yeah.
Not.
That's not much. They're paying more than that on their cell phone.
Yeah, exactly. So my question is when it comes right down to it and how you quantify it, are you, as a consumer, do your homework.
Right. Find the numbers. Do the real work.
Do the real work as opposed to allow it, because in today's society, I tell you what, so many people are afraid of just the word. Just the, rates have gone up.
And then everybody is in a flurry.
Everybody's in a flurry.
Gotcha.
And nobody does. But at that point in time, someone decides to step off the curb, and they step into the market and haven't been paying attention. And 4.25 is 4.25. It is what it is. Is it going to affect everyone? No.
No.
Is it going to affect everyone potentially shopping right at the moment? Who knows? But perception is king, whether justified or not.
Right.
It's your perception.
And when people start squawking rate, I want to giggle. And not because I find it totally funny, the subject, but I do find it funny that perspective is not looked at. So, I mean, back in the 80s, rates were 18%.
So let me.
So 18%.
And throw in here as well. And we've seen appreciation.
And my daddy was buying a house for me. We were buying a house.
We've seen appreciation in California at 19.2%. Since March of last year to March of this year.
Right.
Okay. So your perception of rates are going to allow you to miss. Now, we're not going to see 19.2%.
No,
Economists are
we're not.
predicting somewhere in the ballpark of a little over 5%. That makes me feel a whole lot better. 19% does not make me feel good.
No, I agree.
A little over 5% makes me feel a whole lot better, but you're going to allow your perception without fact, because everybody's got a gut, everybody's got a feeling, to stop you from buying and take advantage of that appreciation. Give you another example: 5% interest rate on a $150,000 purchase rate, 5% 30-year fixed rate FHA loan with an APR of about 5.26. Total payment $1,200. So you've gone from $1,048 at 3.25. So let's say $1,050 up to $1,200.
And
at 5%,
1.3,
and
1.75,
1.75, almost 2% in interest rate. So my question to anybody:
so what's hitting you more? Is it the interest rate or the elevation of pricing? Elevation of pricing is 19%, like you said. So pricing is kicking your fanny more than interest rates will.
Well, and are you going to allow your perception that wow, rates have gone up almost 2%? It must not be a good time to buy. My whole point is this. Consumer confidence drives the market, but don't allow consumer ignorance to stop you from getting into the market.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, run the numbers.
Yeah, run the
If you're not
numbers.
sure, go to our website and take a look.
Exactly. So let's talk about, we had a listener question that I thought was extremely, extremely important. Tim from Fresno called and had a question with regards to needed a date of death appraisal.
Date of death appraisal.
Date of death appraisal. They were advised by their attorney that as in terms of disposing of the property within the estate, because obviously it sounds like in this particular instance, and I wasn't able to get all the particulars, but it sounds like in this particular instance there's a number of assets that the estate possesses, and that they needed they needed to determine what was the value of this property at the date that this person died.
Wow. Okay.
For what purposes? I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming to be able to see what shares everyone at that moment had.
Well, what
how
they
much
sell the
money it was
property, though,
worth.
for today is a totally different number.
Okay.
So, I can see the relationship between...
Well, maybe the date of death, though. I mean, if you have five heirs and somebody wants a date of death, it could be because one of those folks wants to buy the property at that value that it was at date
good
of
point.
death. So the
Yeah,
others
very good
can
point.
reap the benefit of what's left
Gotcha.
of the proceeds.
Interesting. At
You
the
didn't
date
think
of death?
of it.
No,
Date of death.
I didn't think of it
because
that
you
way.
would owe your sisters, brothers, etc., whoever the other partners are, what the value was on the date of death. Whatever market's done since then is on you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So
Good
it could be
point.
for financing. It could just be for purchase or amongst the property, amongst the heirs.
And that date of death appraisal is going to be a snapshot or a valuation. It's a window in time.
Mm-hmm.
What was the property worth at that point in time 6 months ago? Or
Totally
a year ago?
doable, too. Totally doable.
Yeah.
All you do is you look at the market and what was going on that day.
Yeah.
As far as what comps were comparables, accurate comparables on that day. Nothing since will affect that appraisal.
And really, you think of it, the date of death could be the date of the appraisal. I mean,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a snapshot in time. It's a
Right.
window that looks back at the valuation of the property at that.
But what's interesting is that people may not even know those are available.
Yeah.
I mean, in your regular day, when would you have a need for that?
Right.
If you're going through a divorce, you might have a need for a date-specific appraisal.
Very good point.
Commercial property, residential property, all sorts of different types of properties will have a date-specific appraisal because you want to go back and look at that particular snapshot
there
in
you go.
time. What was it valued
At
at?
the point in time that they split up.
Exactly.
Very good point. See, I knew there's a reason why I got you here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Once in
there
a
you
while, I bring something to the table.
Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you on our show, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. It all starts with one call, and that's a call from you, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website, check out our resources online. Go to Valleywide Sells. The name says it all, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. You can also friend us on Facebook by using Press 4 keywords,
Friend Valleywide on Facebook.
or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valleywide.
To call into the show anytime, we'd love to hear from you. Well, a special thank you to Michelle Pettis,
Anytime.
my special co-host, real estate professional extraordinaire, and soapbox girl this Sunday
Sorry.
morning. No, don't apologize. Also, a big thank you to Johnny behind the mics. Johnny, you do a great job, buddy. Thanks so much for making us sound like really good. Yes, Jake. Yeah. Okay, maybe. Let's not go that far, right? Our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market so we can help bring you
Back home.
Don't forget to tune into the Real Estate Radio Network next Sunday morning at 7 a.m. right here on 105.9, the FM KMJ. Local news, local talk. Make it a great day, Central Valley, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.